Sometimes artists release singles that feel like they were dropped in from another universe compared to the rest of the project. In this video, we look at 10 singles that sound nothing like the album. Yes and by Ariana Grande. Released on January 12, 2024 as the lead single from her 7th studio album Eternal Sunshine, Yes and was kind of a new sound for Ari. It fuses house, pop and dance elements with ballroom influences and was clearly inspired by Madonna's Vogue. It had an upbeat, energetic vibe, and lyrically, it focuses on addressing the negative press she got after she started dating her married co-star and she was being called a homewrecker. But the rest of Eternal Sunshine is way different from the high-energy tempo of Yes and. The album had more introspective themes, featuring slow tempos and a blend of R&B and neo-soul influences. Its concept was inspired by the 2004 movie Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind and talks about moving on from a past relationship. Yes and was polarizing when it was released. Even though it debuted on #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, it fell off the charts relatively quickly. When they heard it, fans were expecting she was going in a new direction with the album, but when Eternal Sunshine dropped, it was more like the best version of Ari's signature sound. I Knew You Were Trouble by Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift's Red was her first step into the world of pop, but no other song on the album sounded like I Knew You Were Trouble. Inspired by dubstep, which was popping at the time, the song shocked fans when it was released as a 3rd single. The glitchy production with that iconic drop on the hook screamed 2012 EDM radio in a way that none of the previous singles had. It was a big departure from the country pop sound Taylor had built her career on. However, Red as a whole wasn't nearly as sonically adventurous as I Knew You Were Trouble. The album was full of pop anthems, with songs like Oh Too Well and Begin Again, close to her country roots, and songs like 22 and We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together had that polished pop sound. Despite the risk, I Knew You Were Trouble became one of the album's defining tracks, peaking on #2 on the Billboard Hot 100. It signaled what was to come in her career, as Taylor fully embraced pop with her next albums. She is now known for switching up her sound every couple of albums, but at the time, I Knew You Were Trouble was a huge risk. Run the World Girls by Beyoncé. When Beyoncé dropped Run the World Girls as the lead single from her 4th album 4, fans were caught off guard by its unique sound. Built around the sample of Major Lazer's dancehall song Pon de Floor, its high-energy militant brand of female empowerment was something new. Its chaotic beats and aggressive delivery was unlike anything Beyoncé had done before. It was a polarizing song. While some loved its boldness, others found the sound too jarring. The rest of 4, however, has little in common with the single. It was a smooth listen, inspired by old school R&B. Songs like Love on Top, 1+1 and I Care are intimate and soulful, while songs like Countdown and Party had more upbeat vibes without being chaotic. 4 is arguably Beyoncé's most cohesive album and is one of my favorites to this day, but the lead single felt like a curveball. Commercially, Run the World Girls underperformed relative to Beyoncé's previous lead singles, peaking on #29 on the Billboard Hot 100. It really didn't connect with the audience, as it was not the best song to introduce the era. Dirty by Christina Aguilera. Christina Aguilera's Stripped is best known for its introspective and empowering tracks, like the Grammy-winning ballad Beautiful. But when she launched the album with Dirty, fans were left scratching their heads. The song, featuring Redman, is a grimy club anthem that was released with a provocative music video. The rest of Stripped is deeply personal and vulnerable, but Dirty is pure chaos, less about narrative and more about showing Christina's rejection of her squeaky clean pop image. It was a deliberate attempt to shed the teen idol persona she built with her debut. The backlash to Dirty was immediate. The music video got a lot of controversy as the song flopped, peaking on #48 on the Billboard Hot 100. Overseas, it did better, especially in the UK, where it topped the charts. Even though the single didn't really represent the album, it became a defining moment in her career, showing that she can take risks. Dark Horse by Katy Perry. Katy Perry's Prism era was marketed as a bright, uplifting project. Singles like Roar and Unconditionally embody this theme, with their empowering lyrics and polished pop production. Then there is Dark Horse, a moody trap-influenced anthem that sticks out like a sore thumb. Its hypnotic beat, with those hard-hitting 808s, and Juicy J's verse, makes it feel like it belongs on an entirely different album. Dark Horse wasn't initially planned as a single. It gained traction after fans gravitated towards it after the album's release. It managed to become one of Katy's biggest hits, topping the Billboard Hot 100 and earning a Grammy nomination. The rest of Prism focuses on themes of light, love, and resilience, making Dark Horse feel like a dark horse on the album. It is still a career-defining track for Katy, even though it feels like the odd one out on Prism. Lose You to Love Me by Selena Gomez. Released in 2019 as the lead single from Selena's album Rare, Lose You to Love Me is an intimate, vulnerable ballad. The stripped-down production allows her voice and emotional delivery to take center stage. The song's lyrics talk about her journey of self-discovery and healing after a toxic relationship. It became her first Billboard Hot 100 #1 hit. However, as listeners dove into the album, many were surprised to find that the rest of the album is full of upbeat, funky, and lighthearted tracks. Songs like Dance Again and Look at Her Now and sound nothing like the lead single. The album is mainly danceable, feel-good pop, making the single feel like an outlier. Regardless of feeling out of place on Rare, Lose You to Love Me remains a standout in her discography. La Tortura by Shakira. La Tortura, featuring Spanish singer Alejandro Sanz, was released in 2005. As the lead single from Shakira's album Fijación Oral Volume 1, the reggaeton-infused track was groundbreaking at the time, introducing mainstream audiences to a genre that would later go on to dominate global charts. Its infectious rhythm and steamy music video made it a hit worldwide. The song became a defining moment of Shakira's career, showcasing her versatility. But the rest of Fijación Oral Volume 1 was in the direction of soft rock, folk-type ballads, with tracks like No and Dia Especial showcasing Shakira's poetic lyricism. While the album celebrates her Latin roots, it does so in a much quieter, more introspective way compared to the fiery energy of La Tortura. Bound 2 by Kanye West. Kanye West's Yeezus is one of the most experimental albums in hip-hop history. From the first note of the intro on site, it is a chaotic and industrial masterpiece with harsh electronic production. Songs like Black Skinhead and I'm In It push sonic boundaries, creating a dark and aggressive atmosphere. But the album's closing track, Bound 2, is a soulful, sample-heavy track that feels like it was pulled straight out of Kanye's earlier college dropout era. It is a jarring transition on the album when you get to the final song. Compared to the rest of Yeezus, Bound 2 feels almost romantic, and with that music video starring his then wife Kim Kardashian, it was an outlier on the album. It is still one of his best songs, even though it doesn't fit the album it's on. Jimmy Cooks by Drake featuring 21 Savage. When Drake announced his 2022 album Honestly Nevermind, many thought it was going to be another rap-heavy project, but the album turned out to be a departure from his usual sound, diving into house and dance music. The album wasn't really received well. Drake took a big risk, but at the end of the album, he tried to appease his fans with the rap banger Jimmy Cooks with 21 Savage. It became the biggest hit from the album, debuting on #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. The song was the winning formula for Drake: sharp bars, braggadocious energy, and a banging beat. Unlike the groovy head-bopping tracks of the rest of Honestly Nevermind, it leaned more into 21 Savage's sound, which led to their collab album Her Loss. Yeah by Usher. Usher's Confessions is widely regarded as one of the greatest R&B albums of all time. Released in 2004, it was packed with smooth ballads like Burn and emotionally vulnerable tracks like Confessions Part 2. However, the album's lead single, Yeah, was a high-energy crunk banger that felt like it belonged on a completely different project. Thanks to Lil Jon's signature production style, it had an infectious beat, and those iconic Lil Jon ad-libs couldn't miss at the time. Fans were thrown for a loop when the single dropped, but it became a massive hit and is one of Usher's most successful songs, topping the Billboard Hot 100 for 12 consecutive weeks. It served as a perfect promotional strategy, as it used the trending sound to appeal to a wider audience. While the crunk sound may have been an outlier on the project, Yeah helped the album become one of the best-selling albums of the decade. Which singles that sound nothing like the album did I miss? Tell me in the comments below.